Welcome to class. The first thing we are going to be doing is cutting out the bonings. So what we need to do is place your boning on the fabric to measure the length, just like what I'm doing. You measure the numbers of bonings that you want. Just measure it on the fabric and cut out the numbers of bonings that you want as well. All right, I am using a sewable boning here, so I'm just going to place it on my fabric and I'll run my stitches on the boning. But if yours is not a sewable bonings, that's the plastic one, now it means you're going to create your boning casings, and what you're going to do is to insert your boning into the spaces that you have created. I'm going to show us how to do that as well, but for this I am just taking out time to run my stitches on the bonings. And now mine is in form of a V shape. That doesn't mean you cannot go with any other shape. You can make it straight if you want, and of course you can bring out the same shape as mine. That is your that depends on what you want. All right, so I just continue to do that, to sew on the bonings until you are done with it. Okay, like I said, if yours is going to be the other boning, you place your fabric, then stitch on the two sides and insert your boning. That's how you're going to be doing it. But since mine is a sewable one, I am just running my stitches on it. So whatever I have done, I'm trying to measure the spaces between each bonings, so I can measure on the other side as well to be accurate. Now that we are done sewing that, the next thing to do is to join the cup. So first I am going to join the first. I need to measure 1.5 inches, then to the center, then back to my 1.5 inches. So I'm doing that on the other fabric as well. Remember I said if you want to change the patterns of your cup, you can use another fabric. You can use two different fabrics. All right, so after joining, you top stitch on the fabric. All right, top stitching will just give you a kind of design. I love top stitching. It's not like it is a must you do that. All right, so here is the second case, and it has been done. So all you need to do is make sure your ready-made cup is seated well, and then you stitch it down at the edges. So once that has been done, you are going to repeat the same on the other side of the cup. Just the same process. Here we are done, and then placing the cup, I explained in the cutting that you can place your cup depending on how you want it to, that's the shape of a bustiers that you want. So what I'm going to do from here is place my cup, make sure it is sitting well on my fabric, and then I'm going to stitch on it. Now this is where the 0.5 inches that we left while we were cutting, we measured 0.5 inches round. This is where it is useful. So placing the other one as well, I'm going to run on my fabric. So you do the same to the other side, and whatever excess that I have, I'm going to just trim them out. So once you have done this, we are going to join the lining as well. But before we move to the lining, we are going to be covering the edges of our cup. So all you need to do is cut out a strip of fabric just like this. So I'm going to be running it on the cup like this. Make sure the stitches is behind the first line. That's the first thread that you have sewn. Make sure it is behind it so your thread is not showing. But if at the end of it you discover that your thread can be seen, then you can lose out the first thread as long as this is still holding your cup. So you're going to be covering the edges. You're going to be covering it up with the fabric. I'm going to repeat the same on the other side. I'm going to be repeating the same on the other side. You can see it has covered the edges of my cup. So I'm repeating the same here as well. Just place the strip of fabric, run it down, and then cover it up. Now we are done with this. Here is the outcome. The next thing is the lining. So we are first going to join the cup area of our lining just the same way I measured 1.5. We're going to measure the 1.5 and then we are going to be joining this. But here now, this time around, we're not going to be placing it on the lining. We're going to bring the joint parts together and notch the center just like this. So I'm going to start sewing. I'm going to place the center at the base, at the underbust area of the fabric. Then from the center, I'm going to join to the right hand side, and then I'm going to join to the left hand side. All right, so whatever you've done here, repeat the same on the other side. So let's say you can see that the outcome here is different from what we had on the main fabric. Now here is my 2 inches, which is going to be placed on the shoulder. On the back pattern, I am measuring out 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches. Then my lining is being placed on it. So the band I measured 2.5. I placed the 2.5 is measured from the center. From the center, I measured 2.5. Then I placed my band. Then the lining is placed on it. So just run your stitches, and I'll be coming back to top stitch on the lining. So the next thing is to cover the center. To turn it inside out. Just done with the lining. So do the same on the other side, and this is what we have afterwards. Now we are going to be placing the band on the front part in order to secure the band at the front as well. Then place your lining on it. From the armhole, I am going to be running my sewing all through to the other end of the armhole. So let's start. So this is the sewing of this tutorial. We already did the cutting, and in case you miss how to cut, kindly watch how to cut the beginner's corset, because this is how to sew. There are two different tutorials. All right, so once this has been done, you are going to notching it to make the fabric relax. Then you can top stitch on the lining. Another way to secure your lining so that it doesn't continue to show on the neckline of your fabric is to use your gum to hold it down. And of course, you can top stitch on the lining as well. Then you make sure you iron it out afterwards. Now the next thing is to bring out the shape on the side. So we're going to be placing the back without the lining, starting from the armhole area to the base. You are going to close it up by the side. Then we're also going to, that's the fabric to fabric, and then I'm going to continue to join the lining to lining. So I'll be pulling the lining, you can see. So the front lining and the back lining is what I am joining now. So whatever you have done on this side, I am going to do that on the other side as well. Make sure the armhole at the back and that of the front, make sure the armhole aligns before you join. So we are joining the fabric to fabric and then continue to join the lining to lining. Then you can turn it now and iron it out. Then we see the results. So if you're going to add whatever base fabric, you can go ahead to do that.